Welcome. This is Dr. V. Gajalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Lakshmi Ramswamy College, Tiruchirappalli. In this session, we are going to see a brief history of African American literature. African American literature is a powerful voice of resilience, identity, cultural expression, and shaping history through storytelling. This literary tradition has not only reflected the struggles and the triumphs of Black communities, but has also been a key force in promoting a racial pride, much like the Black is Beautiful movement of the 1960s. Both literature and this movement challenge uh, negative stereotypes, celebrate Black identity, and highlight the rich heritage and achievements of African Americans. With this understanding, let's now look into African American literature in brief. African American literature has deep roots, with the early pioneers giving voice to Black experiences in the US. One of the earliest known works by a Black poet is The Ballad, which published in 1746 by Lucy Terry. Phyllis Wheatley became the first published African American poet with the poems on various subjects in 1773. Jupiter Hammond, a preacher and a writer, composed Ode in 1778. In the world of fiction, Frank J. Webb published the Garys and Their Friends in 1857, and Harriet Wilson wrote Arnett in 1859, the first novel by an African American woman shedding light on racial struggles in the North. These early works laid the foundation for African American literature as we know today. African American literature has evolved through different historical periods, reflecting the struggles, resilience, and achievements of Black communities. Let's go through the key eras one by one. Uh, Slave narratives, 18th century to 19th century. These were first-hand accounts by formerly enslaved individuals, revealing the brutal realities of slavery and pushing for abolition. Writers like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Jacobs shared their personal experiences to challenge the system of slavery. Next, post-slavery era, late 19th to early 20th century. After slavery ended, literature shifted toward discussion of racial identity, discrimination, and paths to progress. Leaders like Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois debated different strategies for Black empowerment during this time. Then Harlem Renaissance, which covered 1920s to 1930s. Uh, this was a major cultural movement that celebrated Black identity through the literature, music, and art. Writers like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston used their work to express the richness of Black culture and challenge racial stereotypes. Next, civil rights movement era, from 1950s to 1960s. Literature became a powerful tool in the fight against segregation and racial injustice. Writers such as James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry highlighted the struggles and demands for equality during this time. The recent history, which covered 1970s to till date, this modern African American literature continues to explore themes of Black identity, history, and social justice. Authors like Toni Morrison and Colson Whitehead have crafted powerful narratives that keep these discussions alive. Each of these eras contributed to shaping African American literature as we know it today, helping to amplify Black voices and experiences. Now, let's dive deeper into each period. Slave narratives are first-hand accounts of enslaved individuals' experiences, primarily written in the 18th and 19th centuries to expose the horrors of slavery and advocate for abolition. Notable works like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Jacobs' autobiographies highlight themes of resistance, literacy, and the pursuit of freedom. Harriet Beecher's stories, Uncle Tom's Cabin, though not a first-hand account, showed how cruel slavery was and supported the fight to end it. These narratives laid the foundation for African American literature, influencing later writers and shaping discussions on race and identity. After slavery ended, African American writers shifted their focus to the struggles and progress of their community in the US. Newspapers became a vital platform for publishing essays, poetry, fiction, and news, allowing voices to be heard on a larger scale. Influential figures such as W.E.B. Du Bois, who addressed racial issues in The Souls of Black Folk, Booker T. Washington, who advanced black education through the Tuskegee Institute, Marcus Garvey, who championed the Back to Africa movement, and Paul Laurence Dunbar, whose poetry in Oaken Ivy gained widespread recognition, all made significant contributions. Their collective effort not only shaped African American literature but also played a crucial role in advocating for racial equality and cultural identity in the United States. The Harlem Renaissance was a cultural movement that highlighted African American literature, music, and art, seen as a rebirth of Black creativity. Writers like Langston Hughes and James Belton Johnson celebrated Black identity, while Zora Neale Hudson captured African American folklore. Dorothy West wrote about race and class, and County Cullen explored racial themes in poetry. This movement not only showcased the richness of African American culture, but also laid the foundation for future generations of Black artists and writers, influencing literature, music, and social thought in the US and beyond. The civil rights movement era inspired a strong sense of independence and activism in the Black community, deeply influencing writers. James Baldwin wrote about race and identity. Richard Wright exposed the harsh realities of racism. Ralph Ellison explored Black identity in Invisible Man, and Lawrence Hansberry highlighted racial struggles in her play A Raisin in the Sun. Their works not only reflected the challenges of the time but also became powerful voices for change, shaping the ongoing fight for racial justice and equality. In recent times, Black writers have become very successful, winning big awards and selling many books. Toni Morrison wrote stories about Black history, Gail Jones explored deep emotions, and Alice Walker won a prize for The Color Purple. Gloria Naylor wrote about Black women's lives, and Octavia E. Butler used science fiction to talk about race and power. Their powerful storytelling continues to shape literature, bringing back experiences, history, and perspectives to a global audience while inspiring future generations of writers. I hope this presentation gave you a clear and powerful glimpses into the rich history and impact of African American literature. Thank you.